Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to part 2 of our EA Sports WRC Hard Charges DLC review. Yes, we return today to take a look at the Acropolis Rally and a couple of the all-new cars inside the title. If you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Rally Sweden, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, we went through those brilliant new stages around those venues as well. But yeah, today though, as you can see, we have got the Harvati stage, which is 14.1 kilometers. In fact, the busiest stage the other way around is ever so slightly longer than that. We've got the Drosso PG stage. I'm probably butchering these names horrendously, as usual there. Perachora, and then the Arini and the Posidonia stages as well there. So this one is a bit more normal, unlike the ones obviously from Sweden that kind of do a little bit of different routes. This one is quite simply just a backwards and forwards run throughout. 54% light gravel, 37% heavy gravel, and even a little bit of dirt thrown in there as well, which, yeah, kind of fits in with some of the other stages we've got here from the Acropolis Rally. For this one, though, today, we are going to be jumping in with the Ford, the really, really old Ford Escort inside the game. I think it's in H3. I'm really now testing my knowledge inside this game as well. I know it's definitely not a H3 car. It might be older than that, actually. Is it H2? It's the RS like 1600, isn't it? So hopefully that is going to be here. There we go. The Ford, yeah, Escort RS 1600 Mark 1. 5-speed H-pattern gearbox in this thing, 230 horsepower from a car that barely weighs a ton as well. This thing looks really, really good fun there. Comparing it to the other car, slightly less power from a slightly bigger engine, and it does weigh actually ever so slightly more as well there. So yeah, some slight variance between the two cars. But yeah, let's head out then onto the stage and then back the other way. I think we'll jump in with the Opel. Here we are then at the Eco Acropolis Rally Greece. It feels like it's been a long time since I've done any stages here. But a bit like when we did the first run in the Ford Escort yesterday, I'm not expecting this first run to be particularly clean, especially in a car as old as this one, 1972. This car burst onto the scene, of course, pretty much around the time, yeah, the WRC was kind of officially formed as well. And lights out, and away we go then here. So, like I said, you know, the DLC quality so far in this game has been exemplary, and well, I don't expect the Acropolis Rally to be any different on this one. Obviously, we've only got that one kind of section here of Rally Greece prior to now, which admittedly can be quite a fun one, but it's kind of all split into about 3 kind of different parts. You kind of got the, well, 4 really, I should argue. Oh, hello. A little bit loose and lively on the gravel early on. Yeah, obviously you kind of got all driving kind of around the horrible cliffs with the huge drops early on the stage. Then you kind of just got the horrible, narrow, twisty section on the event, as well as, oh, this thing is very, very rear end happy as well, so you're going to have to be very careful with that. Then obviously you kind of got the little bit of a high-speed section midway through the stage, and then last but not least, of course, kind of a more flowing and modern feeling section of the rally as well. But obviously, yeah, Acropolis, one of the most brutal on the calendar, always has been, and I'm sure always will be, even to this day. Still test the reliability of the modern machines, and, well, trying to take something that's sort of 50 years old around this venue as well, might be slightly tricky there, as, say, like all of kind of the older and especially the rear-wheel drive cars in this game, this thing is an absolute handful to try and keep pointed in the right direction. Now, they have definitely made some tweaks to the handling model of the rear-wheel drives inside the game. They've definitely made them a lot more stable than they were, because ultimately they used to just be kind of impossibly oversteery. They still have obviously got that oversteer, as you can see. I'm going to try and flick the car in and dance it off the pedals, but yeah, it's definitely more manageable than it used to be. But I would still recommend you probably want to opt for the kind of setup tweaks still with these cars. But yeah, so far this one feels fairly fast and flowing throughout the early stages there. A couple of nice water splashes as well. So absolute power through there. Oh, no. Okay, that's fine. We get the 9-second penalty. We don't pick up any of the damage. That... I don't think we would have been able to try and crawl this thing back out of there. That is a lot of rocks down in kind of the riverbed as well. But just trying to get the power down through the exit of the corner. I mean, yeah, 14 point... I think, yeah, just over 14 kilometres, isn't it, this one? So, a slightly longer stage than we get from the Umeå one over in Sweden as well. But, like I said, you know, it will allow more variety when it comes to, you know, kind of setting up your rallies. And I think kind of the 4 they've picked have been really, really good choices. Obviously, for bringing more content inside the game as well. Obviously, you know, we're still kind of umming and ahhing about whether we're going to get more content for this game or a new game as well down the line. But I really do think that maybe just continuing to develop this game could be the way to go. Kind of like we saw with Dirt Rally 2.0, you know, bring all the stages back from the original Dirt Rally game. I understand for this title, obviously they are kind of bound by contracts, but, you know, I've spoke about it before. I'd love to see the European Rally Championship. I'd love to see kind of the Canary Islands, Saudi Arabia, everything else that we're getting for 2025. As there you go, a harsh reminder yet again about the rear-wheel drive nature of this car as well. I think this one is definitely kind of the odd one out in this group. Kind of the Ford is, well, the other Ford I should say, is fairly sophisticated. You know, obviously rally kind of, you know, top class rally spec early 2000s. So wasn't, you know, it was definitely a handful still, but nothing quite like this thing. The amount of corrections you have to make on the steering wheel in this car is nothing short of just, I mean, it's constant, isn't it? You never really get in this thing pointing in a straight line, which is kind of fun to try and dance it off the rear end. That can be a real challenge as well. Just trying to, you know, pump that throttle where I can, just try and keep the rear wheel speed going. There's a lot of water splashes through this stage as well. Whoa. Obviously this was the section that was obviously in the trailer as well. There are a couple of switchback corners as you make your way through the puddle then and onto some of the really, really rough terrain and onto the rocks as well then. But I'm intrigued to see what it's going to be like going back the other way in the Opel as well. So, I mean, it's just such a handful, this car. I do kind of wish there was more emphasis on some of these older cars inside the game as well, but yeah, it's very, very good fun. Especially, say, with the tweaks they've made to the rear-wheel drives as well. They definitely, you don't kind of just feel like you want to avoid them like the plague. They can now kind of be driven a little bit, but, you know, by someone with a lot more talent than me, as you can clearly tell by the way I'm trying to kind of handle this thing around. But I reckon in a modern rally car, this stage is probably 7-8 minutes worth. I think we're going to be just outside of that, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to be probably more up towards the 10-11 minute mark in this car. But yes, one of my favourite rallies I've still ever done on this game was just doing the really, really long stages of Bio Rally Chile in the H1 front-wheel drive class. That was so fun and kind of different, and really has kind of given me that motivation to, you know, it's pretty much the reason why I set up the Endurance Rally League on this title as well there. But yeah, I'm hoping obviously we get to kind of experience some of these stages in some of the official WRC clubs as well. I need to go back and set up another kind of weekly rally league as well. Obviously, for you guys. But obviously, yeah, with F125 announcements coming for that fast approaching, we've kind of already had some information leaked about it. Are we just now, you know, we might have to take a little bit of a step back from EA WRC over the coming weeks and months as well. But yeah, I mean, these games, like I said, they are really, really good fun, and I certainly never spend too much time away from this title there. So again, just hoping that the car could find grip through that section as well there. There's definitely some fast-flowing sections on this stage, but I mean, yeah, the rocks are everywhere and always trying to capture you if they can as well, so certainly doesn't make life easy at the moment. Wow, look, the rears there ever so slightly. That's not what you want to be doing. I think always the key with these older cars is trying to leave them actually in a lower gear a lot of the time. You can't really kind of short shift your way around the problems, as I thought we'd done a lot of climbing so far on this stage. So I think now we might just be starting coming down the other side of the hill then. Whoa, avoid that rock on the inside, nearly. Quite. I mean, these things as well, they were so small back in the day as well, you know. They're not quite Mini Cooper small, but they're still quite small as well. As now gravity might become, well, both a friend and a foe on the run back down the hill. Oh, no. Especially if I do that. Oh, terminal damage. That's quite shocking. I was quite surprised they've done that there. Annoyingly, I won't even be able to get to rewind that, so we won't even get to the end of the stage on that way round. But yeah, we'll dive in with the Opel, and we'll try and go back the other way. Well, here we are then in the Opel, 212 brake horsepower in this thing, in the Rally4 class. And I must admit, this is a little bit special for me, this car, because here in the UK, as many of you all know, these are called Vauxhalls. I actually had one of these, this model variant. It's the first time ever, I think, or at least in recent years, that my car has been in a video game. My old Peugeot 107, which is my first ever car, was in, I think, Forza Motorsport 4. And finally, yeah, now, my second car is in this game. Oh, this thing, though, immediately what I'm noticing is how sensitive it feels on the steering. Got a lot of front end, it would appear, very early on. Now all I've got to wait for is, hopefully, that my current car ends up in a video game at some point. Don't think it would be well suited, though, to EA WRC, but I mean, immediately, the first thing I'm noticing in this car is all the pops and bangs coming out of the back of it. It's ridiculously loud early on. I did have a quick look back. We did make it most of the way through that first stage on the other leg, so yeah, we weren't that far away from the end, but yeah, still gutted that we didn't quite finish that one on the run through, but hopefully going back the other way, we can try and make sure that we get to the finish line as well then. But yeah, this thing obviously feels, I mean, it's staggering, isn't it, when you think this car has less power than that Escort did. Just how much more efficiently you can use the power, and obviously all of the extra grip and everything else that kind of modern rally cars have over their old counterparts. This is the kind of thing, I probably wouldn't even need 200 brake horsepower. This is the kind of rally car I would love to give a go IRL in, and you know, absolutely kind of like 150, 170 brake horsepower that you can absolutely throw around as well. As I mean, yeah, early on though, it's got a lot of front end, but that's kind of, if you can work that for yourself, it's very, very quick, because obviously, I said, as long as you can not do that, where it's got so much front, it really does just bite into the road, which is rather impressive. There's not many cars, honestly, on this game that I've driven that immediately feel as responsive at the front as this thing does, sorry. So yeah, rather impressive early on here. As I mean, yeah, this is kind of more the Acropolis rally that I'm used to, of, you know, kind of all the switchback hairpins, everything like that. Early on in the stage, obviously, rocks everywhere. Just got to try and keep the car in the middle of the stage and avoid apparently random trees on the inside of some of the corners as well. They're trying to give it the old Scandinavian flick. That wasn't quite going to happen that time round then. But yeah, obviously the Rally4 class of car inside this game, actually getting 2 new vehicles in this final current DLC pack for the game. So yeah, there's a lot of R4 cars now inside this title, which is, you know, always nice to see. Clearly, I've just learnt there as well, you've got to keep this thing in the right gear, otherwise, yeah, it's just got no power on the exit of the corners. I think a lot of its power comes from the turbo, which is rather unsurprising, to be honest. But I mean, again, just it's constantly popping and banging in my ear. That is incredible. It does sound pretty good as well. Certainly much better than my Corsa did. So don't fall off. This is pretty much around the same place that I fell up fell off on the alternate route. Yeah, it's just, I mean, look at that. Not even having to use the handbrake. You just drag the front in on the lock. And it just kind of finds grip there as well, which is mighty impressive. This thing is going to be very, very competitive on kind of these stages, some of the snow stages as well, inside the game. As again, just making sure that I don't fall off the stage and potentially pick up myself another DNF early on. I mean, yeah, that one I was quite surprised by. Even when I looked back at the terrain afterwards, you could definitely get back onto the stage there. It was just we slipped far enough off that it immediately gave me terminal damage. So I'll just try and flick it round. You've got to be a little bit careful with the back end potentially just kind of dragging out on the exit of corners there. But yeah, you can, I mean, you've got to be very, very precise with when you try and correct a slide. I often get kind of almost tank slappers on this game quite a lot, and this car you just cannot do that. It drives very front-wheel drive-esque. I wonder what the kind of the power distribution is between the fronts and the rears, but yeah, it is very, very precise and pointed. Like I said, I think if you can, exactly like that, I mean, if you can kind of handle that and deal with it, and kind of feel confident with it, I think it's going to be a very, very quick car in this R4 class inside the game, but it is just about trying to deal with that. Can be notoriously difficult inside this game as well. So, I mean, it's just that whole thing about kind of being precise with it, kind of having the confidence to overdrive it, but just appreciating that if it goes wrong, if you get it out of shape, you're going to struggle to get it back in shape there. We got a bit lucky, but like that time round, just been able to avoid it falling off the side of the stage. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't rely on that luck. You know, time and time again inside this title. Again, even through there, I mean, you can hear it understeering underneath. You can hear it kind of flicking up gravel and everything, but it just butts. It's bizarre. I've genuinely never driven anything like it on this game. It feels almost like how a lot of the cars feel on tarmac, except for this is, you know, a gravel stage. Even there, I mean, look at that. We got the rear end sliding out a little bit, just one tiny stab of steering the other way, and it just corrects. And immediately it's trying to go kind of in the other direction, which is very weird to kind of adapt to, but like I said, could be very, very quick if you can get used to it as well. But yeah, making our way then almost down. There you go. Going to get the water splashes now again. So definitely prefer this stage this way around. Maybe it's a combination of a much better car as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as we've come to expect with these DLC though, the stages are, I mean, this one is fantastically detailed. I think we might have maybe left the best stage till last inside this game. So I'll just keep it off the rocks as best as I can. But yeah, I mean, all of these new stages are well worth the money, in my personal opinion. Especially, say, you can buy the game with all the DLC for really, really cheap. EA are really trying to get this game into as many people's libraries as they possibly can, and I cannot recommend it enough. I've, you know, sung praises of this title for so long now, and if you haven't, you know, given it a go, haven't started playing it, then I cannot do much more to try and convince you guys at this point. Yeah, there's still a few little issues, but yeah, it is so much fun. It's kind of a rally game that everybody should play if you want to get an appreciation for just how mad rally drivers are. This is the title for you. Easy does it. Easy does it. Oh, I can't understeer. Avoid that, thank you. There we go. Oh, definitely still lose a lot of momentum as you try and make your way out of those water splashes then, but through one of the only kind of faster sections it feels like on this stage. 150 kilometers an hour there. Oh, and we'd use that little bit of terrain on the outside just to scoop the front in. Like I said, I wonder how responsive this thing would be at kind of high speed on kind of turning as well, but certainly, yeah, through the lower speed stuff, it is not struggling to kind of find its bite. Like I said, the only big issue I've noticed with it is just kind of feels more like a Group B car of gotta get it kind of in its power band, otherwise that turbo is, well, basically just a paperweight under the bonnet as well. But yeah, I mean, even in this car, I mean, this thing isn't slow. Stage is still going to take in excess of 10 minutes, I think, so it definitely was quite a long one, actually, as well. Obviously, I know we're not quite in, you know, Rally 1 machinery or anything like that. I mean, look at that through there. You get all the weight over the wrong side of the car, and it still just kind of finds purchase. Well, I won't find purchase through there if I do that to it. Luckily able to get away with that one yet again. But boy, oh boy, this car was immediately rocketed up. As, yeah, certainly one that I'm really, really enjoying to drive inside this game. There's still definitely a lot of kind of videos and stuff I want to make on this title as well. You know, I want to do some direct comparisons between various car classes. I want to do more setups and things like that as well. Oh, down the line. But boy, oh boy, yeah, if this is the last DLC, again, they have absolutely smashed out of the park at the moment. Of course, we've still got those two Clios that I'm going to cover in tomorrow's video as well. But boy, oh boy, they are doing a fantastic job with this game there. Come on. Right it through, just over the 10-minute mark now. So yeah, this is definitely a much, much longer stage than that Swedish one. And of course, now you can play the DLC for yourself. It has been officially released, I believe, when this video goes live. Oh, no! Oh, that was so close to going over. I thought we might just about make it through without a massive crash in this car. Is it just flat out now towards the finish line? I think it might be. No, we've still got a few more corners to try and navigate as well there. But yeah, this thing is so well suited to this stage. Down towards the final corner, though. It's going to be about a 10-minute 40 through that one there. 0.691. Very, very happy with that. And that car has pleasantly surprised me. I thought it would be good, but I didn't think it would be that good inside this game. Thank you all, though, so much for watching once again. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. Let me know, have you picked up the DLC? What's your favourite car so far in all of your practice? But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, like I said. We've got those two Clios still to give a go. No idea where I'm going to take them yet, but hopefully we can have a good time.